Bam! All right, this is going to be the first entry of my DG happenings. And I'm going to call it that because D is the letter in which things come through, dia, the doorway letter, and G is where they generate and group. So they're going to be things that I have grouped together of things that we've generated in my life. So I can use those as reference and explain things. Now, here was a situation on a day where at the same time, the Coke guy, the Pepsi, or the Coke guy, the Lay's guy, and the Little Debbie lady were there. Now, I could go into all their names and all this kind of stuff, and eventually on someday I will go through the people of Dollar General, and you'll see that this is all spiritual and it all adds up. Even if it's just people that work at Dollar General, the specific one that I'm at, or if it's the most cosmic spectrum, or the alien names and the names of the ancient Egyptians, or you and your family and where you're at in the world. This actually applies to that. So through these little videos I'm going to do with these DG happenings, they're basically just going to take things from the everyday life and put them into scenarios so that you can try to think about maybe we could do this in a better way. And if you think deep about it, you'll see what I'm trying to get at here. So that day, the Coke guy, the Lay's guy, and the Little Debbie lady were all there. It was a day where we're setting up all these things. We call it the magic table, and there was too much Coke and too much Pepsi, and they want to make sure they get their overstock out. And the Lay's guy's bringing his chips. The Little Debbie guys or lady is bringing her, Swiss cake rolls and cosmic brownies and stuff that's not only just not good for people in the first place. A lot of it has animal parts and products in it. Like anything that has milk or anything like that has to come from an animal. Now, the Lay's guy, same kind of thing. He's got cheese flavored this and sour cream flavored that. Those use animals just to put into a bag of plastic so that somebody can pop it open while they're sitting lazy. Lay's potato chips, Lay's, Frito, free to be lazy, or fried and as it lie, active base or active. So you're as it lie, active, lay. It's what makes you sit around and be lazy. It literally says free to be lazy. Frito-Lays. Or fried, as it lie, active, highly identified. Potatoes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the word lay means potato. But just fried, as it lie, active, highly identified. A post to it with an apostrophe S. If you looked into the guy that did lay, I'll do that someday if you want me to. It's literally where he aligned with his world, where the people that are doing it are aligning. So when these three people were here, or at DG that day, I couldn't help but say to myself, look at where everybody is and how they're not just going one level deeper and thinking, okay, is what I'm doing helping anybody? You might be making money for yourself working at a job, but is that job or is that corporation helping anybody? It's not helping people to give them fake artificial flavors mixed in with a little bit of other stuff, pieces and fragments and little bits of this that you use and little bits of that you use, some chemicals, some GMO grown this and that, and then giving them to people and making money off it. That's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting them. It's only benefiting you and them in a system that we have in place. You have to look beyond this shit. The system that we have in place is corrupt and is set up to keep you enslaved. Whether the people operating it at whatever level they're at, there's a level above them. There's always a level above them, and it comes to creation itself. The reason we're doing this is because people are looking inside themselves and saying, is what I'm doing helping anybody? Other than self-serving so that I can qualify for the rules that I've been placed in. Remove the rules, but be moral at the same time. Stop doing things that harm other people. That shouldn't be hard to do. Now, me, I'm there because that's where I'm going to see the most random people the most. I'm not going to be sitting around waiting for people to show up and want to learn the truth. I have to put it in front of them. And every person has been like, wow, you're not wrong about that. You're right about that. That's the truth. Every person. There's not a person who disagrees unless they thump off onto a religious practice that they have. And I can actually explain that too, but they won't listen. That's the big difference between being wrong or having people all of a sudden be like, oh, I don't like what you're saying, so therefore what you're saying is wrong. You may not like what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is true. Now back to those three people. Nothing about those individuals that day, but all three of them being there at the same time thinking like, look at what we're doing for money. Okay? Now, ask yourself this simple question, and this will be all I'm going to make for this video. This simple question: knowing that there are people out there who are willing to take a paycheck to enforce laws that are ridiculous. Say something as simple as like smoking some weed because someone said you're not allowed, even though we know it's healthy for you and it helps cure cancer. It does all kinds of things for you. Research it. Don't just take what other people said to you. Research it. Try it for yourself if you want to. There's no law against it in the universe. There's a law against it in man-made shit. But we got to learn that that's not important anymore. If you are truly moral, you don't need somebody to tell you how to be. You need to learn through experience. So, what I'm saying with this is, we know there's people out there who are willing to enforce man-made laws. We know there are people out there who are willing to kill and cause war and destruction for money. We know there are people out there who are willing to, do molecular manipulation in science and things like that for money. We know there are people who are willing to butcher animals all day long, hack things up for money. These affect each of those individuals differently, emotionally. But at the same time, I know that most people aren't going to be like, oh, I'll go against my morals and I'll go take money to kill people. Unless they're so in a bind and they feel like they need that money so bad, which is the thing that keeps people doing the wrong thing. No one's going to slaughter animals all day because they like it. They're getting money for it. No one's going to go start a war and kill people if they're not getting something for it. No one's going to do all this inhumane stuff, poison their own community with artificial sweeteners and just addictive foods that make you fat and sick. That's slowly killing people. Now, the individuals can go work out, they can do different things to counteract those things. But if you're not willing to go shoot people for money, or enslave people for money, or enforce laws for money, or manipulate the environment or animals or things like that in scientific research for money, why are you willing to slowly poison your community for money? Now, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm trying to actually challenge where your morals are. If you don't think it's a moral thing, or you don't think it's immoral to go around giving people things that they cause addiction, they cause sickness, and they cause obesity and health problems. So if you're getting paid to do that, you're not doing a moral thing. Money does not matter. Money isn't the root of all evil, it's the route to all evil. Is it not? Because if people weren't giving you money to do it, you wouldn't do it. That's the problem with most people, is they won't do the right thing because you don't get any money out of it this day and age. The only reason I'm at a place that I'm working at right now is because that's the only place that would hire me, because of the stuff going on with the computers and how if you put an application in, they won't allow you to, especially when you speak out against the government. I'm not necessarily against the government. I'm for the power and the energy that runs them behind it all. This is a spiritual, demonic, there's so much stuff going on here that most people just don't want to understand. Wearing a suit and tie and talking in front of a crowd of people at a podium doesn't make you any more important. In fact, most of the time those people are lying, so they're actually worse for you than the average everyday guy on the street. But they've got us going against each other, whether we're our gender wars or our Be Me movement or eating meat or not eating meat or races or everything, religions, everything. If you can see that we're all living energy, you don't need a religion to explain that to you. You don't need science to explain that to you. You have a conscious mind. You have an awareness. Now increase those abilities and start thinking about if what you're doing is actually a moral deed, if it's a moral act. Do you think it is? I know what I'm doing is moral. I'm trying to open the hearts of every person I possibly can so that we can do better for the world that we're in. I know I'm doing a moral thing. So when I bring these subjects up, understand that I am following my own advice. And I'm at a place where I don't want to sell people anything like that. I don't want to stock any shelves with things like that. I used to own my own business. I used to be a foreman. I used to do things so much bigger than this. And it's such a disgrace to a normal everyday person, if I cared about stuff like that, to work at a Dollar General. But I'm exactly where I need to be, because that's where I can actually interact with more people. And I can interject my own stuff and say, hey, in case you didn't know, this isn't the best for you. And this is horrible for kids. And there's chemicals in this. And oh, if you didn't know, our skies are being sprayed. And if you care about your children, maybe we all ought to get together as a community and work on fixing these things and demanding that these things stopped, or we'll do something to stop them. There is an end time coming, but we're going to end the times that are being done wrong and correct it. So a new end, a new beginning, it's all the same thing. Unless you plan on just dying and you're not going to go anywhere, but come right back and do this all over again. So no matter what stage in life you're at, you should try to understand. Take right now to understand who you are. Become more conscious and more aware of the world you're in and what happens when you do the wrong thing. How it's affecting others, not just you or your pocketbook. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I say this, and I've said it a million times in all my other videos, God bless you. But try to realize that I mean to say God with a comma, bless you, because you are that too. You are a manifestation of energy, of creation, of the universe in your time locale. And I understand you. Most people don't. I know there's tons of variables behind every person. And if I was with you and you opened your heart, I could explain so much to you. You wouldn't have questions that needed answered other than things that you want to do and things that you want to learn and things that you want to get better at. And I can help you with a lot of those kind of things too. But some of it has to be out there in the world. A lot of it I can get you started on. And that's my responsibility to you because I love you. And that's all I'm going to say this time. So until the next time, peace and God bless you.